Hello, Radiant Ones, and welcome back to another episode of the Pleasurehood podcast. This episode is a continuation of my Burnout to Radiant story. If you haven't already, I invite you to listen to part 1 of my Burnout to Radiant story to give a little context into what I'll be sharing with you today. But you can always forge ahead and listen to this episode. Do whatever feels resonant to you. The journey of Burnout to Radiant for me means coming into the highest truth of who I am, stepping into my full self-expression, and touching my inner divinity. But for those of you who have yet to listen to part 1, here's a quick recap of the part 1 of my Burnout to Radiant story. My journey began with a deep, deep depression. I was so depressed that the days were melting into one another and I was beginning to give up on life. Every morning I would wake to find my heart filled with dread. Another day, another moment to feel like I have nothing to add to the world. I believe that every woman comes to a crossroads where she must decide whether she will stay asleep or wake up to the situation she has found herself in. Either way, she must realize she is an active and willing participant in both. I knew I had one of two choices. I could stay asleep and continue to feed my misery, or I could choose something different. I could choose a different way of being. I could choose to become more than I was. I could choose life. So I chose life. And healing from the inside out is the ultimate response to taking full responsibility for your life. No one can control what is happening inside of you. Everything that takes place, all your reactions, actions, failure to respond, responding too soon, poor communication, or no communication, is a choice that you have consistently made. I knew in order for me to move forward, I was going to have to fully face everything that wasn't working in my life and fully accept it for what it was. I could no longer make excuses for my poor choices. The time had come for me to face reality head on. I knew it wasn't going to be easy, but I was willing to make myself uncomfortable in order to create a life where I loved myself and felt whole, complete, and empowered. So yeah, this is where we left off. And how does one begin to take full responsibility for their life and fully accept their life for what it is and what it isn't? Well, that's what we get to explore in today's episode. Healing doesn't happen overnight. There isn't a quick fix to repairing and transforming the relationship that you have with yourself. Transformation of any kind is a journey, not a destination. Healing is a process. Coming home to yourself is a process. Falling in love with yourself is a process. It won't be perfect. You will trip, you will fall, you will make mistakes. But remember to love yourself through all the twists and turns. When in doubt, practice compassion. Hi, I'm your host, Justine Oxoy, and this is the Pleasurehood podcast, a podcast where we explore what it means to be a mother, a leader, and an all-around badass from a place of pleasure, empowerment, and turn on. I am here to revolutionize how humans experience sex, pleasure, and motherhood by normalizing self-care, normalizing having desires, and normalizing mothers as sensual and sexual beings. Quick side note, you don't have to be a mother in order to listen to this podcast. Though I create my work with mothers in mind, this conversation is for everyone. I truly believe that pleasure is one of many paths of healing, and I'm here to highlight how to walk that path, no matter who you are. It is my deepest desire that wherever you find yourself on this amazing journey we call life, you can experience your power, your turn on, and of course, orgasmic pleasure. Healing doesn't happen overnight. There isn't a quick fix to repairing and transforming the relationship that you have with yourself. Transformation of any kind is a journey, not a destination. So please don't be down on yourself when you don't reach a certain goal in a certain time frame. Acceptance can be one of the hardest places to begin. You look at your life and all you can do is shake your head and wonder, how did I get here? It's not important to figure out why you're in the situation you're currently in, but honestly, just to acknowledge the fact that you are in it. When you go down the rabbit hole of why and look towards the past for clues, it's so easy to get stuck in the loop of everything you could have done differently. If you turn your attention on what you wish could be different, you're placing your attention too much on the future. For me, self love is something I must practice every single day. I have to love on myself from the moment my feet touches the floor in the morning to the moment my head touches the pillow at night. I have to choose every moment of the day to love who I am because there are plenty of moments that can turn into me berating myself for something I could or should have done better. One of the biggest lessons I have learned in the past, I don't know, 5, 6 years is to honestly be gentle with myself. Like, healing is hard. I think that's something that should be said more often. I find that sometimes in the personal development world that we have this rose tinted glasses because with social media, you get to see only the good parts of healing, right? Like all of the results. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but I think it's really dangerous when we see people boasting 20, 30K launches for their business, or I get to travel and have a business, or I have this amazing relationship and it wasn't always that way. And now, like, I have the best partner in the world, and you get to see all of the fruits of someone else's labor. And sometimes I find that people aren't willing to show, like, the journey that got them to where they want it to be. And for someone who is new to this idea of changing their life, of transforming their life in a deep molecular place, it can kind of feel like, I don't know, like you're doing it wrong or you're not doing enough or you need to read more books or take more programs. And believe you me, I had been in that place before where I thought that, like, oh, one more program, one more book is just going to get me to where I want to be and like get me the results that I really desire. But what I find is a lot of the time that wasn't the answer. The answer was to slow down, to be gentle with myself when I experienced setbacks, because there were plenty of setbacks and there still are. I've been doing this for a really long time. I've read all of the books. I have done so many fucking programs. I can't even tell you how many fucking programs I've done. And I still find myself having negative thoughts or finding myself in a place where I don't have a lot of clarity about where my life is going. And I'm really confused. And I'm like, I have all these tools. Like, why are they not working? But sometimes the best thing that you can do for yourself is just to say, all right, like I had a setback. That's human. Humans don't always get it right the first time, the second time, the third time. Usually, what I do is I acknowledge what happened And I make a plan to do things differently next time. I take it one step at a time and I'm present with myself and I love myself anyway. We humans have a tendency to be super hard on ourselves and super forgiving of others. And when you divert from your path, make sure you forgive yourself. Forgive yourself. Forgiveness to me is one of the biggest keys to this journey because you're going to stumble, you're going to fall, you're going to say the wrong things, you're going to have a negative thought, you're not going to like the way you look one day, you're going to wish things were different, you're going to have scarcity and lack mindset, you're going to wish that you had more money in the bank, you're going to wish that, things weren't so hard being a mother and like you're going to wonder why does it seem so easy for other people and so difficult for you. You're going to compare yourself to others. You're going to judge others. You're going to be jealous of others. Those are all human experiences and it's fine. It's okay. I think the most important thing that you can do is acknowledge it and be like, oh, okay, like what's that about? Maybe you don't have an answer right then and there. Personally, whenever I'm jealous of someone, I find that I have a desire that I haven't given a voice to or acknowledged. And I'm like, oh, actually, I'm jealous because they have something that is a representation of something I would like to enjoy in my life. Maybe not the exact same thing, but something similar. Or it wakens up a desire you never thought you had. But when we label these things as like bad or I shouldn't be thinking or saying these things, we fail to see the opportunity to heal, to shift our paradigm, to see things differently. Forgiveness is always there for you to return to time and time again. Again, be kind to yourself. There is no need to beat yourself up for anything. When was the last time you showed yourself deep compassion for what you're going through? I mean, Jesus, we are going through so fucking much nowadays. It seems like never ending. COVID is still very alive and well. And now monkeypox is here. Like, what the fuck? And then there's war, there is climate change. Like, oh my gosh. And here we are trying to keep these little human babies alive. And we're trying to not just thrive, we're trying to survive. Like, thriving doesn't even seem like it's a possibility. Pleasure doesn't even seem like it's a possibility. But honestly, when we just stop for a second and just have a little bit of compassion for everything we're going through, and instead of trying to push forward and do better and return to life as normal, life is not fucking normal. Have compassion for yourself. Show yourself a little kindness. You must have compassion for yourself. No one taught us how to love ourselves. We were definitely taught how to judge ourselves, how to be hypocritical, how to tear ourselves down, but we were never shown or given instructions of how to build ourselves back up. This is why we must have compassion for where we are in our healing journey. Healing is a process. Coming home to yourself is a process. Falling madly in love with yourself is a process. It's not going to be perfect. Like I said, you will trip, you will fall, you will make mistakes, fall into old habits. But remember to love yourself through all the twists and turns. When in doubt, practice compassion. It took me almost a year to finally set the course that would lead me down the path that I am currently on. And I am constantly changing paths and coming to crossroads in my life and needing to make big decisions that would transform my life, how I view myself, how others view me. Sometimes I make decisions where people think that I'm fucking crazy, and that's okay. I am learning how to not care what other people like, how other people view me or how other people think about me, which is really fucking hard. It's not easy. But what I'm finding is it's more important for me to love me, for me to like myself. I am with me all the time. If I don't like myself, like I am in deep trouble. Same with you. If you don't like yourself, you are in deep trouble because there is no getting away from you. The beginning stages of healing is not a cakewalk, okay? You will tumble and fall, you will yell and scream and cry. But once you purify yourself, and it's like this huge clearing, oh my gosh, I can't tell you. Like when I made friends with my anger, it was such a beautiful moment because I found power on the other end. And I found a new solid foundation on which to build my life on, which was so exciting. Because if you remember in part one, like I seriously was just ready to just say, give up on life. I was so depressed and the anxiety was all consuming. And I just like, I didn't know where I was going, what I was doing. And, that realization of like, oh shit, I don't like myself. I don't love myself. I don't love who I am in this moment. And then having to really choose something different was not a cakewalk. But once I was able to do that hard part, it truly opened up space for more amazing things to begin to unfold. So I invite you just to wherever you are on this journey, if you are feeling burned out, stressed, depressed, I invite you just to love on yourself and have deep compassion for where you are. We're all going through it. We're all struggling. I feel you. I see you. You are not alone, my love. Like, it is okay to be frustrated as fuck and not know where to go from where you are. I invite you to just have compassion, acknowledge how you feel and where you are. And if you can't see where you want to go, that's okay. Just sit with it and just be like, okay, I'm just acknowledging where I am, but I'm still going to choose life. I'm still going to choose life. And when you choose life, when you choose to resurrect yourself, to rebirth yourself, magic begins to happen. Things begin to unfold. Things begin to happen in your favor. And it doesn't happen overnight. And it may not be like this huge opening, but it's in the small stuff, the inner satisfaction, the inner joy, the inner happiness. It's what we do on the inside that changes the outside, not vice versa. Because if we should start trying to change the outside to change the inside, it will never work. Never. Maybe for a short moment. But we have to find the pleasurable moments, the bliss, the joy on the inside. Acceptance for what is and what isn't. The love for what is and what isn't. And knowing that when you choose life, anything is possible. You are a motherfucking sex switch, okay? And you can sit at the throne of your heart and own yourself wholeheartedly. You are a sensual, sovereign being, and I don't want you to fucking forget it. Choose life, my love. Choose life. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of the Pleasurehood podcast. Oh, this was such a treat to share. I really, truly love sharing my story with other people because I've learned so much over the past 5-6 years around self-love, empowerment, pleasure, and it wasn't an easy journey. And so I'm just so honored, so grateful to share my ongoing journey that is continuing to unfold each and every day. I get to learn something new about myself. I get to come across a new challenge, new opportunity to grow, to expand into more of who I am. And I wish the same for you. That is why I created the Pleasurehood podcast. That is why I share the word of pleasure and empowered motherhood. I think it's so deeply important to know that whatever you're going through, things can change and transform. And I just love that I get to walk this path with you every single week. So thank you again for journeying with me and being on this revolutionary path with me. If you're new to the Pleasurehood podcast, first of all, welcome. And if you liked what you heard and you want to connect with me more, you can listen to past episodes, follow me on Instagram at Justine Oxoy, and also drop into my YouTube channel, aptly named Wild Sexy Free. If you're an Apple Podcast user, you can support the podcast by leaving a review. All right, beauties, that's all I have for you today. I'm sending you so much love, pleasure, and sexy vibes your way. And until next time, stay wild, sexy, and free.